Hello and welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger and
Kitten.
Kitten. Kitten is just sitting in the background and being a eavesdropper as I record and occasionally laugh at me when I say something wrong. Um, it is August 21st, 2022, and Kitten and I both are feeling a lot better. Uh, I still have the occasional cough and sputters, but I think right now it's mostly just reflexes rather than actual being sick or anything like that. So here we are. We are at the end of the Art of Conversation series. I'll be honest, in the beginning, when I decided to do this little series of talks, lectures, whatever you would call them, lectures just make it sound so formal, but this little series of video on the art of conversation, I felt that wow, there's so much to talk about and so much to say, so much to discuss that it's probably going to take for friggin' ever to get through this. And then here we are. Well, actually, at the end of this. So, just a quick recap, just in case you guys didn't haven't paid attention to the previous couple of episodes on Sausage Sunday and Art of Conversation. The reason we are doing this is because I have always been blessed with a lot of really, really good friends in my life. Like, uh, it's one of the little thing that I feel is really charmed about my life. That wherever I go, I end up attracting really good people. And I have asked myself many, many times this question: what does so and so get out of our friendship? Uh, what does George get out of hanging out with me? What does uh, Peter get out of hanging out with me? And so on and so on. What does Kitten get out of hanging out with me? Well, Kitten gets to beat me up all the time. That, you know, what she does. Anyway, domestic abuse. Anyway, as someone called the SPCA.
Liar.
Uh, so one of the conclusions that I've reached has been that one thing that I am proud to say, really, really good at is I'm pretty good to talk to. A lot of my friends have mentioned this, and this has been something about me even way back when I was a child. Uh, I was, I wouldn't say I was ever my father's favorite child. I think my older brother David, in some weird fashion, is actually my father's favorite because my father liked to say that David is the one that he can relate to. David is the one that is the most like him. However, even when I was a teenager, I was that child that my father would talk to. None of my other siblings. My other siblings, they were mostly yes, dad, okay, dad, and you're right, dad. Uh, they were very compliant and fearful, nervous around my father. I was fearful and nervous too, but I was not quite as compliant. Uh, Not that I would be honest with him all the time. I mean, that would be kind of suicidal. But I was a lot more straightforward than most of than my other siblings. In that, if I felt that my dad handled something, could have handled it better, or if I felt that he was ready for some feedback, then I would give it to him. Consequences be damned. So I thought, there are a lot of people that said to me before, either during counseling or during private moment, Johnny, I'm I'm a really nice guy. I'm really a nice person, but why do people not want to talk to me? Why am I such a bad person for people to talk to? Well, I thought maybe through this little series, Art of Conversation, I can pass on to you guys a little bit of my bread and butter, a little bit of my secret, a little bit of my understanding of what is it that can make you attractive to talk to other people. And as I mentioned before, if you are the type of person that you say, Johnny, I don't give a damn. I'm going to talk the way I talk, and if they don't like me, that's their problem. Well, then congratulations, you don't need my videos. You're very confident and comfortable in your way, and all the more power to you. But if you are one of the people that occasionally wonder, is there something I'm doing that people don't like to talk to me? Then maybe I would urge you to go back to the previous three videos. Start from the beginning of the art of conversation and uh, take a look at maybe one or two or several things that you could have experimented with and change in how you communicate with people. Anyway, that's getting very long. I know every time we begin during this series, I do this long-winded recap, but I think there are a lot of people who may be watching these backward or just clicking on one of these videos from the one of the middle series, uh, don't know what this is all about. So that's why I'm doing this. So let's finish up the art of conversation, so we can go back to talking about some other topics. Maybe I can regale you guys more with stories about my parents and my childhood and all that boring stuff. Anyway, um, we have talked about rhythm, we have talked about timing, we have talked about feeling, uh, and so on and so on. The last key to what would make you a good conversationalist, someone who people enjoy talking to, is understanding. Now, you may be thinking of a different kind of understanding. You may be thinking about, yeah, of course, I got to be an understanding person. When people talk to me about their problem, I got to be understanding about it. Now, that's not the understanding I'm talking about, although that definitely is relevant to what I'm going to be talking about today. Understanding, when in terms of being good at communicating, being good at carrying a conversation, come in parts. Three parts. Uh, Number one, understanding yourself. Understanding yourself. So understanding yourself, we can split this into two two sections. Sorry about clearing my throat. Like I said, I still have a little bit of a frog in my throat. Uh, so yeah, I'm just going to try not to do it, but when my voice start to get weird, then it has to be done. Um, Understanding yourself. Number one, like I said, this can be split into two junctions, two sections. First, understanding what is it that you are good or comfortable with. Understanding what you're good or comfortable with. And this is a really big one, right? Uh, sometimes, sometimes we run into people, first year people in psychology, really bad about that. Okay, first year sociology, first year psychology. I was there. I did that too. If you talk to a person and every sentence you say that person is like repeating everything you just said and say, "Am I understanding you correctly?" Doing that over the top, reflective listening skill, and then every time you ask them something, they come back with, "Well, how do you feel about it?" Then you know this person is like a first year sociology, first year psychology, because they are forcing themselves to do something that is not them. It is not natural. No one really talks that way. And it's what they tell you is a good skill to have, and they are reflective listening, and confirmation, and uh, uh, multifaceted solution seeking. All these are very important skill, but it's not something that you just force the conversation into. Okay, if you can't do this naturally, then you're not doing it good enough to really get it to work. You'll end up being a very annoying person to talk to. Uh, so why do I bring that up? Because a lot of people, they say, okay, maybe it's because I'm too quiet. Maybe from now on, when I talk to people, I got to talk more. I got to uh, be the one who tells joke. And then they go and read some self-help book on how to be the center of attention of the party, and how to be the clown, and how to the 100 jokes that always make people laugh. And then from that day on, every time you talk to them, this normally quiet, mild-mannered, introverted person is cutting you off every time they get a chance and inserting some really bad joke into the conversation at the most inappropriate time, and just generally making a test of themselves. What's going on here? It's because they don't understand that this is not them. They don't understand that you can't just force this kind of change. Okay? So if you are a quiet person, if you say, "Hey Johnny, I I just don't know what to say in a conversation. I always feel so awkward because I've always tried to think of something to say. I don't know what to say." And I said, "Stop trying so hard. Why are you trying to think of something to say? If you're naturally good at listening, then that's where you are. Then that's your strength. Work on that. And from now on, rather than trying to figure out a way to say something, maybe figure out a way to ask questions. Maybe figure out a way because you are good at listening. So when people talk, listen to what they have to say. And because every time people say something, there's always questions you can ask. Right? Even if I say something as bland as, "Oh my God, this weather is so hot," you can still come up with, "Okay, just off the top of my head, do you like hot weather? It sounds like you don't like hot weather. What was the weather like when you were growing up? Do you think that the weather is getting hotter this past few years? What do you think of what they say about global warming?" I can go on and on just on that little bit of information people feed me. This is why Johnny Tiger is fun to talk to because I listen. I listen to what people say. I take it apart. Where are my questions? What questions can I ask? What can I latch onto? Right? People say, I went to New York yesterday. Okay, so from right there, of course, the most obvious, did you have fun? What did you do? Where did you go? What did you see? Who did you go with? How have you been to New York before? How is New York comparing to the city we live in? Uh, do you think that New York is better? Would you like to live there? Now, there are a lot of questions that can come get out of that one little bit of information. Yeah, you say good morning to me. I can think of, are you a morning person? How do you feel this morning? Do you feel this morning is a little bit colder? I woke up this morning and it was a little bit cold. Did you feel this way? Uh, what do you usually have for breakfast? What is your morning routine? I am I have always been, even when I was a child, I was that child of 1 million questions. It gave me a little bit of leadway. I can turn that into 10, 20 questions. So if you are the type of person that you have a hard time thinking of a topic, then stop trying. Stop trying to think of a topic. Take what they give you. Take what they feed you. What uh, words they're saying, and turn that around and ask them and build a conversation around that. I guarantee you, you'll become one of the most popular person because a lot of people like when people give them a chance to talk. A lot of people like it when you ask intelligent question that makes them feel that you were listening to them, that you are asking a relevant question and you are interested in answers. And of course, if you're that person who naturally like to tell joke, you naturally like to you're outgoing and you're rambunctious, then again, all the more power to you. Keep that up, but make sure that you know when to ring it in because people don't like a clown 100% of the time. So if you have that much energy in a conversation, then it's important to not steal the stage all the time. Think of it like going to karaoke, right? Like you may be the person who know all the songs. You may be the person who is the best singer in the crowd. You may be the person who can find songs the fastest on those karaoke books. But if because of that you start hoarding the microphone all the flipping time, no one want to go to karaoke with you anymore because it's like going to watch your personal private concert, and you might be really good, but when people go to karaoke, they don't just go to listen to people sing. A lot of people go there so they can sing themselves, right? So if you are that person who has a lot of abundant of energy and topics during a conversation, which I can be sometimes as well, you got to learn to ring that in and learn to control yourself, pace yourself. And if you want to know more about that, go back to check out our episode on rhythm and timing and feeling and all that stuff. And number one, know yourself, know what you're good at or what you're comfortable at. More important so is number two, know your role, know your position. One of Kitten's favorite say is know your position in life. And this sound a little bit like I'm saying that know your position, peasant. But but that's not. No, that's not what I'm saying. Okay? When you're in a conversation is like anything else in life. There's a hierarchy going on even when everyone's supposed to be equal, okay? Everyone's supposed to be equal. There's a hierarchy going on. You need to know yourself. You need to know uh, where you stand with people. And this is important. I used this example before, but it's worth mentioning again. I had this friend named John, and John was an older man. He was a lot older. He was like old enough to be my grandfather. He was older than my parents even. We worked together. We hung out together. And in the beginning of our friendship, John and I we fought all the time. Like we had some of the stupidest arguments guys could have. Like usually guys don't argue like that, but John and I, we just couldn't, we just seem to rub each other the wrong way all the time. Until one time my mom uh, enlightened me to what I was doing wrong. My mom said, look, you can't treat John like your pal, your buddy. He's old enough to be your grandfather. You need to show him some respect. Off the top of my head, and like my initial reaction, why should I show him? He's not my grandfather. We work together. Like just because he's old, why should I treat him like my grandfather? My mom said because if you don't, then you can't be friends. It's that simple. You can't treat him like your buddy. This guy's seen war. This guy's had grandchildren. multiple grandchildren, probably great grandchildren. This guy been through divorce. This guy bought houses, sold houses, moved from country to country, got multiple marriages, worked in so many different fields. You have no concept in what kind of world he's been in. That you can't just treat him like your college friend. You need to talk to him with a little bit of deferences, a little bit of respect. Just because he say, "Hey, a-hole, how are you doing today?" You can't say, "Nothing, a-hole, how are you doing today?" Okay, it doesn't work that way. It took me a little bit to come around to that thinking, but I'll let you guys know once I started to internalize what my mom said to me, once I start to accept that and think, I think she's right. I mean, holy crap, this guy is old. This is a war veteran. This is an Air Force retired Air Force pilot who flew organs and blood to different hospitals during the war. This guy seen people die. This guy probably killed people. And here I am, like, hey, dude, what's up, dude? God, I'm stupid. So from that day on, even though he would talk to me like I was like a young punk, because to him I was a young punk, huh? Even though when he saw me, hey Johnny boy, what's up, you a-hole? I'm like, nothing, John. How are you today? And we got along great from that point on. Like John and I never had another those stupid arguments that we used to have because from that day on, I understood my position. I was not his equal. I would never be his equal, not in his mind, not in anybody else's mind, and I couldn't think of it like that in my mind. Because if I try to force that, then we couldn't be friends. So when you're in a conversation, you got to look at your friend. What have they gone through? What are you talking about? If you are talking about something that they have absolute authority, then I'm sorry. You are the inferior. You are the student. They are the teacher. Don't argue with them, right? You can ask questions. You can tell them you don't understand something, but don't argue with them like you are their equal because you are not in this subject. Your friend is like an airplane engineer, and you are a school janitor, and you are sitting here arguing with him about how long it takes to clean and inspect an airplane, you have no ground to go on in this case. Just like if your friend was to argue with you about toilet cleaning. Now this is your specialty. So understanding where you are, who you are, your position in the conversation is very, very important because I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of time, in a conversation, it's like 80%, 90% emotion, maybe 10, 20, 30% fact, right? I believe that even Kitten mentioned this before, that if you tell her something, even though she knows it's right, but if she really doesn't like you, she's not going to listen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if she really likes you, then she's more likely to actually hear what you say and think that it might be right. I have the one time I was helping a friend with his marriage problem, and his wife told me something that was a problem in their marriage, and then I talked to my friend. I said, "Hey, this is what your wife said is going on with the two of you, and maybe if you change." your way to doing this. Maybe you could try doing this, and things might be a little bit different. And you know what my friend said to me? My friend said, I know what you're saying is right, and I know if I do what you say, things will be better. But I'm not going to do it because you are crossing a line. That you are not the person who should be saying, if my wife said this to me herself, then I would be I would be okay to consider it. But she went through you. This is not your place. You're not uh you're not the person to be talking to me about this. I feel insulted? Yes. But afterward I totally understood because I switched position, like I put myself in his shoe. I thought, well, what if today me and my girlfriend or my wife would have problem, and then rather than hearing it from her, I end up hearing it from one of my friends. Would I be pissed? Yes, I would, because should be something private. I should hear this from her, not from the third party. So yeah, definitely understanding your position. So this is understanding yourself. Number one of the understanding, in a become a good conversationalist. Number two, understanding the other person, understanding the person you're talking to. And this, again, come in two parts. Number one, understanding who they are to you at that time. This one is big, okay? And I can definitely tell you guys from a first person point of view. This is a problem that I've had with a lot of friends and students, because a lot of my students are also my friends. But this creates a problem. When I'm teaching you self-defense, when I'm teaching you martial art, when I'm telling you to do push-ups, I'm telling you as an instructor. I'm not telling you as a friend. Right? So when we are at a convention or when we are running a session, this is me talking as an instructor, as your sensei, as a coach. This is not up for debate. This is not a time to say, "Oh, come on, we had so much to eat last night when we went out for party, and you said last night that we all train too hard sometimes." No, this is not the time to bring those stuff up, right? So I hate pulling rank, but there have been a lot of time when I have to put on the sensei hat and really sort of uh, put my foot down and remind them a little bit forcefully that I'm not your friend right now. I am the guy teaching you. And I feel awful doing that every time because like I said, I hate pulling rank. I hate hurting people's feelings. And I can feel my student emotionally, physically pulling away from me whenever I do that because it hurts their feeling. It's like having their nose rubbed. It's like they try to get close to me and I smack them on the nose, tell them back off. This kind of stuff is bad for both sides. It's bad for the relationship that you build. So to to avoid this kind of situation, you need to understand during this particular conversation, this time, is this person your friend, or is this person maybe your manager, your boss? Are you guys having a conversation because it's a supervisor's meeting, and this is not the time to say, uh, to remind him of the stuff you talked about when you had your weekend getaway last week? It's not the time to bring up your childhood shared experiences, stuff like that, right? So understand uh, at this particular moment who is this person to you. It's very important. Also, and this one is something that's kind of like a work in progress with me because I'm a Capricorn and I'm a rooster, which means my tendency is to fix issues. Um, Understand what is it that the person need at this particular time. This one is also very important. You need to understand is this person to you, and also understand what is it that they want from you, what is it they need at this particular time in a conversation. Otherwise, there's a old Chinese adage that says, trying to try to pat a horse on the head and then end up patting the horse on the butt, right? That you pat the horse on the head, the horse will love you. If you pat the horse on the butt, the horse is going to kick you, right? So if you misread the cue, that's what's going to happen. Again, I can give you guys a very real uh, example of this from my past. Is talking to a friend, and the friend was talking about how their performances went down at the gym, and how they didn't gain as much as they wanted to. And immediately I went into super coach mode. Well, you really need to be lifting more weight and you need to eat less. If you really want to gain more, this is what you need to do. And then the person got mad at me and said, look, I know you're a pretty good coach and sensei and all that shit, but right now I need you to be a friend, okay? And that was like a wake up call for me. Like, oops, yeah, yeah. Why did I just do that? That was pretty dumb. Like, the person need a friend at that particular moment, did not needing a coach. So a lot of time when people come to you and talk about their problem, don't immediately slip into you just need to do A, B, C, and D, and everything is over. Okay, we don't need to talk about this anymore. Go get it done. Yeah, great for you, not great for the person. The person really needs someone to listen to them. Okay? Sometimes the solution is not what's needed. Sometimes uh, a pair of willing ears is what's needed in the conversation. So we covered understanding yourself, understanding the other person, and last but not least, understanding the conversation itself. Understanding the conversation itself. Um, this can be separated into understanding the goal of the conversation. Why are we talking? And this is related to what we just said. You need to know what is it the person need from you. But if there's more than one person, you got to keep track of what are we doing? Are we just like having a beer and talking for the sake of talking? Because if that's the case, uh, then how you handle the conversation can be a lot more free than are we actually trying to decide what we are going to eat for dinner, right? I have friends that really like if you let them get away with it. Let's say one person will say, where would you like to go for dinner? And then you say, well, how about this place? And then the other person, like person number three, is going to say, this person, I don't like this place because the other time I went to this place with so and then we went here at so and so time, and then this happened and that happened, and we never got it resolved. And then person number one is going to say, God, I've been going to this place for a long time and that never happened to me. You guys must have said something bad to the server. Blah, blah, blah. And suddenly you got into this 1 hour conversation without deciding where you're going to go eat. Okay, don't let that happen. If there is a clear goal to the conversation and your team is clearly veering off course, then it might be up to you to try to gently, not like we said before, don't force the conversation, but gently steer that back towards uh, getting the goal accomplished. Like, for example, when my friends veer off and talking about how lousy Subway is. Sorry, Subway. I have to just use something as an example. Subway is great. Okay, don't nothing against Subway, but let's say my friends just veer off on this tangent about one of them had great experience with Subway, the other one had bad experience, and blah blah blah. Which Subway did they go to? And I'm like, okay, so you know, I don't know, like Subway obviously doesn't sound like a great idea. I've had some good experiences with Subway, but I also had some really bad experiences. I'll tell you guys once we sit down for dinner, but can we like just decide where we want to go for now? And then we continue talking about Subway after we find a place to eat. I'll gently guide that back onto focus. So understanding the goal of the conversation is very important. Last but not least, understanding the people, the people of the conversation. And this seems like an overall, like just combining point one and two, understanding yourself, understanding the other person. But when I say people, I mean the overall balance, overall picture, overall shift of energy. This is something that's going to make you a very good facilitator if you get good with this. Okay, I'll give you guys an example. If if I'm hanging out with my friend, a couple, and the guy and the lady, they're having an argument. Uh, doesn't matter what they're arguing about, but let's say the guy is clearly in the right, and the lady is getting very defensive about it. Right? Let's say the lady forgot their house key. Right? Let's just take something simple like that. Lady forgot their house key. And the guy is like, well, I even asked you before we left the house, did you have the key? You said yes. So what the flipping is wrong with you? Why you forget the house key? And the woman is fighting back, fighting back. Well, why is it my responsibility all the time? Why can't you take care of the house key? Why is it my fault? This is a time for you to step in if you want this conversation to end. Sometimes not stepping in is good. Sometimes you can just sit back and let them do their thing. But if it's been going on for a while, then you want to step in. But how you step in is very important. You need to know the people. You need to understand the people in this conversation, understanding who you are, understand who they are, understanding where the power, where the balance is, right? Because if you enter on the wrong side, you are going to totally ruin the evening. I can tell you guys that. What do I mean by that? The guy obviously already have the moral high ground because he reminded her to check the key. She didn't. She messed up. Okay, this is a fact. So he has a moral high ground, and she is angry because she has no way to argue this. She messed up. She is defensive. She is resentful. This is not the time for you to side with him because he already is in the right. The balance is already shifting heavily to that side. So if you step in and say, yeah, Marianne or whatever her name, yeah, why did you forget the key? I heard him tell you to check the key. Yeah, good luck. You're going to either lose one friend or this night is going to be very unhappy with the three of you. Okay, so this is a time to sort of shift your weight to her side of the camp in a more delicate way. So when I have to do that, I like, well, it's not really that big of a deal. I forget my freaking key. Sometimes when I leave the house, I even say, Johnny, check your key. Johnny, check your key. And I forgot my key. Yeah. So it's not a crime. It's not a crime. It's just we mess up sometime, and yeah, dude, like, why didn't you? I mean, you told her to check the key. Why didn't you check for the key? you know. So because I know that he already got the moral high ground. He can take a little bit of jabbing. He can take a little bit of uh, uh, friendly challenge of his position. while she is all feeling butt sore and sensitive and defensive. So this is when she need a friend. This is when her side need a little bit of a weight to it. So when you weigh into a conversation between friends, between arguing parties to facilitate, to try to restore balance, it's not about right or wrong. Okay? Usually, right or wrong is already decided before you get in there. This is a more about restoring everybody's feeling, get everybody to calm down, and let everybody realize how stupid this whole thing is. There's no point arguing about it, and let's go move on with our day. So, um, obviously, there's a lot more ins and outs about conversation, communication. There's so much about it that they run entire year-long 2 or 3 years courses in college, charging thousands of dollars, while I'm here giving it to you guys totally free, in four easy to listen to, easy to follow uh, web episodes. So anyway, if you guys got any questions, definitely put them in the comment section. And like I said, uh, please go back, start from the beginning of this little series, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed it as I did, and maybe it will help you improve your communication, your conversation, your life in some ways. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. Quick heads up, we're helping a friend to celebrate birthday tomorrow, so and I have to go back to work in the evening. So there is a chance that I might not get around to Music Monday. I will try my best, but if I don't, I'll make it up to you guys Tuesday. For now, have a good night. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.